Hall of Famer Cheryl Swoopes and WNBA champion was very adamant about the firing of first-year head coach Teresa Weatherspoon of the Chicago Skies. She laid off into Chicago Skies upper management. But before we get off into today's podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend. Well, guys, we all know that the Chicago Sky season came to an end and they didn't make the playoffs. And after all the exit interviews and the exit interview with head coach Teresa Weatherspoon, the Chicago Sky's organization made a movement and they fired their first-year head coach after one season. Now, a lot of people has a lot of different things to say about this. A lot of people are very upset. A lot of people was caught off guard. A lot of people are perplexed about the whole situation. Now, we saw what Teresa Weatherspoon did her first year. She came into a situation where, the main core of her team was gone. They drafted two rookies in Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese. She stepped into a situation where, she had to actually go into rebuilding mode. Started off the season, Camila Cardoso was injured. She had shoulder surgery, so she was out a few games. Elizabeth Williams went down with an injury. And, Angel Reese stepped in and she did everything that she could do to keep the Chicago Skies afloat. Now, a lot of people question some of the, coaching that Teresa Weatherspoon did, concerning the X's and O's, with some of her game plans and, not getting the ball, into the low post to Camila Cardoso when she got back in the lineup. We saw the inconsistent guard play, but, you had a scorer in Marina Mabry that got traded away, going into the Olympic break. She was the leading scorer and she was their best three-point threat. You trade that away and you bring back in Rachel Banham and also Mariah Jefferson, which really didn't give you nothing. Banham was inconsistent. Mariah Jefferson really never, produced what, Chicago Sky's organization thought that she could produce. So everybody, is liking to say that Teresa Weatherspoon, she was dealt a bad hand and she was making, lemonade out of sour lemons. And, she was doing a great job. She was holding down that 8th spot after the Olympic break. The team went on a losing streak. Then Angel Reese gets hurt and things just started unraveling and they dropped out of playoff contention. And, everybody questioned, what is Teaspoon doing? A lot of people said that, that the Chicago Skies would be a better team when Angel Reese went down, but that was proved to be wrong. We saw what happened. They won their first game with the Dallas Wings after Angel Reese went down with the season-ending wrist injury. Then they lost 4 straight, knocked them out of playoff contention. But injuries happened. Camila Cardoso's shoulder, flared back up on her. Kennedy Carter, they said she had a foot injury. There's speculations about that. There's speculations on what the team was doing behind closed doors with Kennedy Carter. And then we go to the last game of the season when, they got knocked out and you had Dana Evans and Isabel Harrison's post-game press conference when they aired out their dirty laundry. And, Teaspoon came out there and she was like caught off guard. And basically she had a facial expression like, y'all should have kept this in-house. So it was a total blow up. So after Teaspoon's exit interview, there was breaking news the other night that, Teaspoon was released of her head coaching duties. And Cheryl Swoopes went on her podcast and she was livid. She really laid off into the Chicago Sky's ownership. She had a lot to say. Now let's take a listen to what Cheryl Swoopes had to say about the firing of Teresa Weatherspoon, and some of the things that she said, there's a lot of validity to that. So let's take a listen to what she said.
Spoon will always be a part of the Skytown family, and we wish her the very best. First of all, Spoon don't want to be a part of that family. You treated her like trash. Sorry, but you did. And if the expectations were to either to make the playoffs, win a championship, or get fired, she wouldn't have taken the job. I'm 100% sure of that.
Nobody would. That is a complete setup for failure, especially when you look at the roster that she was given and you make a mid-season trade that takes away one of your top scorers.
Jordan, what? But even through all of that, they were like a game or two away from getting that final playoff spot. Look, first of all, she walked into a hot mess. A hot mess. If you look at the history of the Chicago Sky, and I know a lot of people on Twitter have posted it, everybody is very well aware of what has happened with the Chicago Sky. Coaches don't get a long opportunity, let alone a Black female head coach. And the Chicago Sky don't go well together. And you know what's crazy is Nadia, being a Black female, can you advocate for our sister and just give her a little bit more grace? You put this statement out, and of course it's Nadia putting the statement out, right? You're a Black woman, so they're not going to come for you because we fired a Black woman. Michael Alter, where are you?
What a mess.
And so he wasn't even in the room when they fired her. It was Nadia and I don't know, Jeff, some other guy. I don't want to put his name because that may not be the right person. But I'm not going to get into all of that because, again, that's Spoon's story. But I am livid.
Now, you heard what Cheryl Swoopes said, man. And she got a great point, man. And then there was one thing that she said that stood out. She said the Chicago Sky's organization, the head coaches, they don't have a long leash. They don't have a tenure. So any hiccup, they could be going after their first year. Even though they signed like a 2 or 3 year contract, they could be going after their first year. Also, she said that Teresa Weatherspoon stepped into a hot mess, which I totally agree, because I'm under the same, sense of what Cheryl Swoopes said. I don't think Teresa Weatherspoon would have took that job if she was under the impression that she had to make the playoffs, she had to win a WNBA championship in her first year. She was under the notion that it's a rebuild, and she's helping rebuild so she could implement her system. She never got a chance to do that. And another thing is, when she got hired back in October of 2023, the general manager wasn't even there. They didn't have a general manager. Jeff Papalachi, that's what I call him, he was hired after T. Weatherspoon's was on board. I don't think he wanted T. Weatherspoon's. He wanted his own personnel. So he had to ride the wave. And Teresa Weatherspoon, to me, did a great job. She was a good coach for, Kennedy Carter. She brought the best out of Kennedy Carter. She was getting the best out of Camila Cardoso, but, the shoulder surgery, the shoulder injury hampered her. She definitely got the most out of Angel Reese, the high motor. But a lot of the other veterans on the team, I don't think they bought into T. Weatherspoon's system. And I think there was some jealousy, floating around with some of these veterans because of what the two rookies was doing. I don't think they bought into the two rookies that they bought in. I think there was some jealousy. And then, Marina Mabry wanted out. So there's some things in the front office that has to be corrected with the Chicago Skies. And that goes to show you that when Gabby Williams turned down coming back to play with the Chicago Skies, and everybody thought, oh, she turned down Angel Reese. She don't want to play with Angel Reese, but she made it abundantly clear that the organization got flaws. But Angel Reese said, we under new management, and we don't operate that way no more. Well, Angel Reese, you better be careful, because, you know, Gabby Williams said it, but you said y'all under new management, but it seems like new management is doing the same thing. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about the firing of Teresa Weatherspoon. It was wrong, you know, but we're going to see what's going to take place. We're going to see who they're going to bring in. But that's going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces. And remember, on your way out the door, do me a favor. Give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, post your comments, share the video out, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we out of here.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.